In Opaka village, there lived Adizu, a young man renowned for his striking features and impressive physique. His chiseled jawline, broad shoulders, and captivating smile made him the most eligible bachelor in the village. Adizu's heart and gentle nature only added to his charm because he was kind and drew many young women to him. Among those meeting with Adizu was Chiyenge, a beautiful and intelligent young woman with a quick wit and infectious laughter. Her eyes sparkled whenever Adizu was near, and her smile could light up the entire village. Adizu, too, had fallen deeply in love with Chinyenge, and their romance blossomed under the shade of the village's ancient trees. However, not everyone was pleased with Adizu's rising star. Isigeze, a man consumed by envy and resentment, had secretly harbored feelings for Chinyenge. He couldn't bear the thought of Chinyenge loving anyone else, especially Adizu, whom he perceived as a rival. Isigeze's jealousy simmered, and he began plotting against Adizu. Each time Adizu and Chiyenge were playing under the ancient trees, Isigeze would stand somewhere and be watching them. Anger will be boiling within him. Why should it be my love that Adizu is seeking for? Why? The person I love? But he had never spoken to Chinyenge once that he was in love with her. And Chinyenge never knew anything that was happening in his heart. So one fateful night, under the light of a full moon, Isigeze conspired with a group of nefarious strangers who had been passing through the village. They hatched a plan to kidnap Adizu and sell him into slavery, thereby removing him from Chinyenge's life forever. The strangers, driven by greed, agreed to help Isigeze in exchange for a hefty sum of money. The night of the kidnapping, Adizu was ambushed while returning from a visit to his elderly neighbor. The strangers overpowered him, bound his hands and feet, and dragged him away from the village. Adizu's cries for help were drowned out by the distant drums and laughter from a neighboring village celebration. Adizu was taken to a bustling slave market where he was sold to a wealthy merchant. 2 years, Adizu endured the hardships of slavery, his spirit unbroken despite the cruelty and brutality he faced. He worked tirelessly, biding his time, waiting for an opportunity to escape, and wondering what Chinyenge was doing at the moment. Could she be married now? He often thought. Or could she still be single? And if married, to whom? All those were crisscrossing through his mind each day. One day, Adizu's chance arrived. A group of rival merchants seeking to undermine their competitor offered Adizu a deal. They would help him escape if he agreed to work for them by telling them the secret to the merchant's wealth. All these Adizu had already known Within the 2 years, he was working with the wealthy merchant. So Adizu, determined to regain his liberty, accepted the offer. With newfound allies, Adizu broke free from his captors and fought his way towards Okakpa, his village. Okpaka. His first action of freedom was to return to the merchant who had bought him, demanding to know why he had been kidnapped in the first place. The merchant, seeing the glare and the harshness in Adizu's eyes, told Adizu everything, explaining how Isigeze had plotted it all out and paid them handsomely to do it. Adizu demanded for the refund of the money paid on his head, otherwise he would kill the merchant. I will never be a slave in my life, he said, beating his chest. So give me back the money that was paid, that the Sigeze paid to you, he commanded threateningly. Adizu's courage and determination earned him respect, and the merchant, depressed and afraid by his bravery, quickly handed over the money to him. Adizu moved on towards his village. On the way, he took out some of the money in the bag and raised it up, chanting, I remove all slavery spirit around me, and I return the money paid over me to cast it out by the grace of my ancestors. I invoke my ancestral spirits to come and free me from slavery right now. He swung the money in his hand 7 times clockwise around his head and threw the money on the ground. From now on, I'm free, and no man shall henceforth hold me captive, he said conclusively, and stepped on the money. When he was done, he continued on his journey towards Okpaka village, holding the remaining bag of money in his hand, freeing himself before his ancestors from the shackles of slavery. Adizu, now a free man, set his sights on returning to Okpaka, his village. As he approached the village, his heart swelled with anticipation. He longed to reunite with his parents and Chiyenge, to hold her in his arms once again and never let her go if she was still single. He knew it would be hard for him to continue living in the village if she was already married to someone else. However, upon his arrival, Adizu was met with shocking news. Chiyenge was betrothed to Isigeze, the very young man who had planned his kidnap. Furious, he downed on him that Isigeze must have been jealous of his relationship with Chiyenge, to have gone to such extent as to plan with strangers to have him kidnapped. The villagers, believing that Adizu had been killed by wild animals or rival clans, had given up hope of his return after much search for him. Isigeze, taking advantage of the situation, had convinced Chiyenge's family to accept his proposal. Adizu's world crumbled. He felt betrayed, believing Chiyenge had moved on with her life. Heartbroken, he wondered if he had lost the love of his life forever. Meanwhile, Chiyenge, though outwardly compliant with the arrangement, was miserable. She had never stopped loving Adizu and felt trapped in a situation she didn't desire. She had always known Isigeze envied their relationship, and he had always wanted her, but she hated him with passion and never knew that he would one day come for her hand in marriage. But she was suspecting something. What must have made Adizu to disappear from the village suddenly? And Isigeze started coming for her hand in marriage. What would have caused that? She wondered. But she couldn't pinpoint anything. As the wedding preparations progressed, Chinyenge's despair deepened. On the eve of the wedding, Chinyenge's resolve snapped. She couldn't bear the thought of spending her life with Isigeze when her heart belonged to Adizu, and she hated Isigeze with passion. Gathering her courage, she decided to flee the village, determined to find Adizu and confess her true love and feelings for him, or get lost to any village she could just go to. If she could not find him, it would be to just throw herself to any destination that came her way. It was better that way than to marry a scumbag like Isigeze. As fate will have it, that same day as she was running to first of all get to the ancient tree to relive the memory of herself and Adizu, she stumbled upon Adizu near the ancient tree where they had shared countless moments. She couldn't believe her eyes. Could this be real or my imagination, she murmured. Their eyes met and the connection was still palpable. Chiyenge, he shouted her name. Adizu, seeing the desperation in Chinyenge's eyes, opened his arms and she ran into them. Tears streaming down her face. I'm so sorry, Chinyenge sobbed. I'm so sorry. I never stopped loving you. I was forced into this betrothal. Adizu held her close, his heart overflowing with joy. I'm here now, my love. I will never let you go, he said. As they reunited, Isigeze's world began to unravel. Faced with the reality of losing Chinyenge, he was forced to confront the depths of his own envy and jealousy. Adizu confronted him, telling everyone and him what he had done, and the villagers were stunned. In a moment of raw honesty, Isigeze confessed his role in Adizu's kidnap. Everyone was shocked at that and watched as Adizu handed back the remains of the money Isigeze had paid over his head to the merchant who kidnapped him. People's eyes widened in shock as Isigeze revealed his treachery. You were behind his kidnap? They asked. Oh, their voices trembling with anger. You are a bad person in this community and must be dealt with, so others said. Isigeze bowed in shame, tears streaming down his face. I was consumed by jealousy. I couldn't bear the thought of Chinyenge loving you, he said. I'm truly sorry for the pain I've caused. Adizu's anger slowly gave way to pity. He looked at Isigeze. He pitied him, a grown-up man full of jealousy and envy. But he saw the remorse in Isigeze's eyes and knew that his former rival had hit rock bottom. Forgiveness will take time, Adizu said, his voice firm but gentle. But I forgive you, Isigeze. You've paid a price for your actions, the loss of your integrity in the society. Chinyenge, still shaken by the revelation, clung to Adizu's arm. Let's leave the past behind us, she said. I want to start anew with you, my love. Adizu smiled. his heart full of joy. We'll build a life together, my love. A life filled with love, trust, and forgiveness. The villagers witnessing the reunion began to understand the depth of Adizu and Chinyenge's love. They saw the genuine remorse in Isige's eyes and the forgiveness in Adizu's heart. The community came together to support the young lovers, and soon Adizu and Chinyenge's wedding preparations were underway. On a sunny day, surrounded by friends, family, and the beauty of Ukpaka village, Adizu and Chinenge exchanged vows. Their love story became a legend, a testament to the power of true love and forgiveness. As they danced under the stars, Adizu whispered in Chinyenge's ear, "I will never let you go again, my love. You are mine forever." Chinyenge smiled, her eyes shining with happiness. "I'm yours, Adizu, forever and always." And so, Adizu and Chinyenge lived happily ever after, their love growing stronger with each passing day. Isigeze, humbled by his experience, began to rebuild his life, his heart slowly healing from the wounds of envy and jealousy. That's the end of the story, friends. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share the videos. Thanks for watching.